She cheated. So I slept with all of her friends. But that's not the worst part. The worst part? My wife sitting across from me right now? She's the therapist who gave my ex the calendar that started all of this. And I'm about to confess everything. Before I go any further, drop a comment right now and tell me where are you watching from? I'm in Dr. Sarah Chen's office. My therapist. My wife. The woman who, 9 years ago, told my ex-girlfriend to keep a period tracking calendar to monitor her behavioral patterns. The same calendar that destroyed my life. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to when I was still a good person. 9 years ago, I was 22 years old, a Division I basketball player at a university in Oregon. Senior year. Starting shooting guard. I had legitimate prospects for playing professionally overseas. My entire world revolved around practice schedules, game film, and the smell of gym floor cleaner at 6 in the morning. I lived with my younger brother Dimitri. Yeah, we both played basketball. Both got full scholarships to the same school. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment off campus, stayed up late watching game footage, argued about defensive rotations. He was my best friend. I didn't know it then, but I was autistic. Undiagnosed. I thought everyone's brain worked like mine, counting everything, organizing obsessively, seeing patterns in chaos. My teammates thought I was just intense. You're so detail-oriented, they'd say. I'd smile and nod, not realizing my brain was wired differently. I was also deeply religious. Evangelical Christian upbringing. I kept a journal where I'd copy Bible verses about purity and faithfulness. Proverbs about the righteous and the wicked. I genuinely believed that if you loved someone perfectly, with complete loyalty, they couldn't betray you. I thought I had the formula figured out. I'd been dating Vanessa for 9 months. We met at the athletic training facility. She was a volleyball star. Stunning. Talented. Damaged in ways I didn't understand. She'd just broken up with her ex-boyfriend, some football player. I should have seen the red flag. Instead, my ego told me she left him because I was better. Because I was the one. She basically lived in our apartment. Dimitri would stay at his girlfriend's place most nights, so it was usually just me and Vanessa. When I traveled for away games, 3 or 4 days every single week during season, she'd stay there alone, waiting for me. I thought we were perfect. The night everything changed was my birthday. We'd won our last regular season game. Championship hopes alive. Everyone was celebrating. I was drunk, we both were. That loose, happy drunk where everything feels possible. Around 5 in the morning, we had sex. Unprotected. We were exhausted, that specific kind of tired where you're still drunk but your body is shutting down. Vanessa kept a period tracking app on her phone. Her therapist had suggested it. Dr. Sarah Chen, yeah, the woman I'm married to now, had told Vanessa to track her behavioral patterns as part of treatment for borderline personality disorder. Vanessa was a volleyball athlete, so her periods were irregular. She'd mark down when we had unprotected sex so she'd know if she should worry about pregnancy if she missed a period. My drunk brain kicked in. We should mark this down now or we'll forget tomorrow. We were too wasted to remember anything. Can you put in your calendar that we had unprotected sex? I mumbled. Okay. She unlocked her phone, opened the app, and immediately fell back asleep. I grabbed her phone while it was still unlocked. Figured I'd do it myself. How hard could it be? I opened her period tracking calendar. And my entire world shattered in 3 seconds. The calendar was covered in black markers. Red ones for her period. Black ones for unprotected sex. But there were so many black markers it looked like a checkerboard with only a handful of red pieces left and all the rest black. My autistic brain immediately started pattern recognizing. Counting. Cataloging. That's what I do, I see patterns whether I want to or not. I opened the first black marker. February 14th. Valentine's Day. While I was playing in Seattle. There was a name written in the notes section, Marcus. I scrolled. Opened another. March 2nd. While I was in Arizona. Name, her ex-boyfriend. Another. March 8th. Name, someone I didn't know. My hands started shaking. I kept opening them. My brain wouldn't let me stop. Compulsively clicking through months of evidence. For different men throughout our 9-month relationship. Sometimes there were almost a dozen black markers in a single month. Sometimes 2 in one day. Different names. Different times. November 3rd. 2 black markers. Same day. Marcus at 2 p.m. Unknown at 11 p.m. These were just the times she'd had unprotected sex. The times she'd bothered to track. Who knows what happened when she used protection. Then I saw the name that made me run to the bathroom and vomit. November 17th. The black marker's note said, Dimitri. My brother. My fucking brother. I spent the next 10 minutes on the bathroom floor, forehead pressed against cold tile, trying to breathe. My phone buzzed. Vanessa's phone, still in my hand, kept lighting up with notifications I couldn't process. I stood up. Checked her deleted texts folder. Android phones had this feature where you could see deleted messages but not their contents. Just the numbers. Thousands of deleted texts. I started Facebook searching the numbers. Matched one to her ex-boyfriend. Another to a random guy. Another to 2 of my teammates. And one to Dimitri. It was 6 in the morning. Still dark outside. Oregon November rain hammering the windows. I grabbed my jacket and left the apartment. I walked for an hour in the freezing rain before I called Dimitri. He answered on the first ring. His voice was thick, like he'd been crying. "I know," he said immediately. "I know you know. I can hear it in your breathing. You slept with my girlfriend. I tried to tell you last month." He was definitely crying now. "You said I was lying. You said I was jealous of your relationship." I tried, man. I remembered. For weeks ago, Dimitri had pulled me aside after practice. Said he needed to tell me something about Vanessa. I'd accused him of trying to sabotage my relationship because he was jealous I was happy. He'd cried then, too. I'd chosen her over my brother. "I even told Vanessa to come clean," Dimitri said. "She wouldn't. Said you'd never believe it. Said you'd pick her over me." She was right. I hung up. Called him back. "Go to the apartment. Kick her out." "What? She's asleep in my bed. Go there right now and make her leave." 20 minutes later, I heard it through the phone. Dimitri's voice, loud and furious. "You slept with me and him? You're sick. Get out. Get the fuck out right now." Muffled sounds. Vanessa's voice. A door slamming. "She's gone," Dimitri said quietly. "Come home whenever you're ready. I'll be here." But I didn't go home. I went to a church. The one I'd attended freshman year before basketball consumed everything. It was empty. Wednesday morning, no services. Just me and the echo of my footsteps on old wood floors. I sat in a pew and tried to pray. Couldn't. My brain wouldn't stop cataloging the data. 4 men. 9 months. 37 unprotected encounters logged in that calendar. How many more with protection? My autistic pattern recognition was a curse now, forcing me to count and recount my humiliation. I pulled out my phone. Opened my Bible app. Searched for revenge. Found 16 verses. Highlighted them all. "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." But the Old Testament also said, "Eye for eye, tooth for tooth." Which one applied here? I sat there for 3 hours, rain drumming on stained glass windows, until something in my chest went cold and hard. The kind of cold that doesn't thaw. I texted Dimitri, "I need the names of everyone on Vanessa's volleyball team. And I need to know which ones have boyfriends." He responded immediately, "Oh no. Please don't." I typed back, "Names. Now." He sent me a list. 6 names. 3 had boyfriends. Perfect. I want you to pause and think about what you would do in this moment. Comment below, would you have walked away? Or would you have done what I did next? The first target was Jenna. Single mom. 2 jobs. Barely staying in school on a volleyball scholarship. I knew she was exhausted and vulnerable. Perfect. I started slow. Athletic facility encounters that seemed accidental. I'd smile. Make small talk. Nothing aggressive. Just present. My face was on posters all over campus. I was the star basketball player with championship hopes. I had social capital. Then I moved to social media. Liked a few of her photos. She liked mine back. I sent a casual message. "Hey, saw you at the gym. You working late again?" Within 10 days, she was in my bed. My autistic brain needed proof. Evidence. Patterns I could track. So I collected something from her. A crayon drawing her son had made that she kept in her gym bag. Mommy playing volleyball. Stick figures in bright colors. I took it when she wasn't looking. That night, I wrote in my journal, "Target 1/6 complete." Below it, I copied Psalm 94 verse 1. "O Lord, God of vengeance, shine forth." I was lying to myself. This wasn't about God. This was about control. 2 weeks later, I moved to target number 2. Rachel. Engaged to a soldier deployed in Afghanistan. He had severe PTSD from combat. She'd shown me his photo once, told me about his nightmares. That's when I decided to take her. It took 3 weeks. I played the understanding friend. It must be so hard with him gone. You deserve to feel appreciated. Classic manipulation. We hooked up in my apartment. She took off her engagement ring before we did. Left it on my nightstand. I pocketed it later. 3 days after that, her fiancé came home on surprise leave. Walked into her apartment and found us together. I'll never forget the sound he made. Not quite a scream. More like something breaking. He was a veteran who'd watched friends die in Fallujah. And I'd just destroyed the one good thing he'd come home to. He collapsed. Full PTSD episode. Hyperventilating, crying, grabbing at his chest. Rachel was screaming, trying to calm him down. I just left. 2 months later, Victor, my 7-foot-tall Serbian teammate, told me Rachel's fiancé had attempted suicide. Pills. They pumped his stomach at the hospital. He survived, barely. I wrote in my journal, collateral damage. I felt nothing. Target 3 was Christina. I'd noticed she was gay before she knew it herself. The way she looked at women in the locker room. The way her boyfriend seemed more like a shield than a partner. She was from a strict religious family. Using the boyfriend as cover. I manipulated her into sleeping with me by framing it as experimentation. Told her it was safe to explore. After we had sex, she had a complete breakdown. Realized she was gay. Came out to herself in my bed, crying. In a moment of vulnerability, she came out to her family. They disowned her. Told her she was dead to them. I collected her rainbow bracelet. The one she wore hidden under her sleeves. Target March 6th. I was getting efficient. The next 3 went faster. Aisha, Maya, Sophia. Each one had a story. Each one left with scars. Aisha was a sexual assault survivor who thought I was safe because I was Vanessa's good boyfriend. After I ghosted her, she stopped eating. Full anorexia relapse. Hospitalized with a feeding tube. Maya was an international student from India. When the volleyball team drama exploded from all of this, and it did explode, her grades tanked. Visa revoked. Deported. Sophia had an eating disorder. The stress of everything triggered a relapse. 3 months with a feeding tube. I collected something from each of them. Aisha's volleyball jersey. Maya's student ID. Sophia's hospital bracelet after she was discharged. Not trophies. Evidence. My autistic brain needed to track the pattern. The volleyball team imploded. Girls who'd been friends for years stopped speaking. Boyfriends found out about the cheating. Confrontations in parking lots, screaming matches in locker rooms. A Title IX investigation opened against me for creating a hostile environment. The campus newspaper ran an exposé, predatory athlete culture protected by university donors. Women's advocacy groups protested at our basketball games. Held signs with my face on them. This is what rape culture looks like. The university threatened to revoke my scholarship. But alumni donors intervened. Major boosters who'd invested in the basketball program's success. He hasn't broken any rules, they said. This is a personal matter. The system protected me. And Vanessa? She was watching all of this happen. Watching her team destroy itself. Watching her friends turn on each other. And she knew it was because of me. But I wasn't done yet. 3 weeks after I'd slept with all 6 of her teammates, Vanessa's grandmother died. The woman who'd raised her when her parents were abusive. Vanessa was devastated. I saw an opportunity. I showed up at the funeral. Told Vanessa's mother I was there to pay respects. She looked at me like I was a demon but couldn't say anything. Not at a funeral. The service was at a small church. Family gathered in the basement afterward. Coffee and sympathy casseroles. I'd prepared something special for this moment. I'd taken all 6 items I'd collected, Christina's bracelet, Rachel's engagement ring, Jenna's son's drawing, Maya's student ID, Aisha's jersey, Sophia's hospital bracelet, and mixed them into big black trash bags along with Vanessa's belongings she'd left at my apartment. I left the bags in the church basement. Right next to the coats. Vanessa's mother found them first. Started opening them to see whose they were. The confusion on her face as she pulled out a volleyball jersey that wasn't Vanessa's. Then the engagement ring. Then the child's drawing. Vanessa's 12-year-old sister Lily was standing right there. She picked up Christina's rainbow bracelet. Aunt Vanessa, what's this? Why are there other girls' things with your stuff? The whole family gathered. Aunts, uncles, cousins. All staring at the evidence of my revenge mixed with evidence of Vanessa's betrayal. Vanessa's mother opened another bag. Gasped. Oh my God. Oh my God. The family priest approached me. Son, this is a house of God. A place of mourning. What have you done? I quoted Proverbs 11 verse 21 at him. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust. Vanessa collapsed on the church floor. Sobbing. That half-crying, half-screaming thing people do when they're breaking. Her grandmother's funeral, the woman she'd loved most in the world, had just become about her scandal. I walked out of that church feeling triumphant. That feeling lasted about 6 hours. Because across town, my brother Dimitri was writing a suicide note. I didn't know that yet. I was at home, high on Adderall and cocaine, I'd started using to perform better at basketball, but really it was to feel anything other than empty. My phone rang at 2 in the morning. Victor. Screaming. I found him. I found Dimitri. He took pills. So many pills. Ambulance is coming. Where the fuck are you? I got to the hospital as they were pumping his stomach. My mother was already there, face streaked with tears. She looked at me and her expression went from grief to fury. He tried to warn you, she said. You didn't believe him. Then you destroyed 6 innocent women to punish 1 guilty woman. You pushed your brother away. You did this. No. Vanessa did this. She. Get out. Don't come back until you can take responsibility for what you've become. Victor grabbed my arm. Hard. She's right. You're the villain now. Dimitri's suicide note was on the hospital tray table. Victor handed it to me. I betrayed you once. You've betrayed 6 families. Who's worse? I can't live with what I did to my brother. And I can't watch him become a monster. I'm sorry. I left the hospital and went straight to my dealer. I needed to not feel this. I needed to feel nothing. But Dimitri survived. Physically. He stopped talking to me after that. Moved out. Transferred to another school. I told myself it was his fault for sleeping with Vanessa in the first place. I was lying. I knew it was mine. 6 months passed. I graduated. Moved to Spain to play professional basketball. The revenge high had worn off, replaced by a grinding emptiness I tried to fill with alcohol and pills. Then I saw Vanessa at a physical therapy center back in Oregon. I was visiting for the holidays. She was there recovering from a shoulder injury. She'd lost 40 pounds. Looked skeletal. Hollow eyes. She was on medication for depression, I learned later. Still dealing with the aftermath of what I'd done. I saw another opportunity. I pretended I wanted to reconcile. I've changed, I told her. I've been in therapy. I realized what I did was wrong. She was cautious. Wounded. But lonely. And maybe she wanted to believe people could change. We rebuilt slowly over 4 months. I played the role perfectly. Attentive boyfriend. Supportive partner. I quoted scripture about forgiveness. Took her to church. Then I proposed. She said yes. Crying with joy. Told her family. They were skeptical but hopeful. Maybe love could heal this. She booked a venue. Bought a dress. Sent out invitations. The day before the wedding, I blocked her on everything and disappeared back to Spain. She had to cancel the venue. Return the dress. Face her family. Explain to 200 guests that there was no wedding. I listened to one voicemail she left from her mother's phone. Just to hear her beg. Then I hung up and never answered again. That's when the heroin started. 2 years later, I'd overdosed twice. Narcan brought me back both times. The third overdose put me in a coma for 5 days. When I woke up, Victor was in the hospital bed next to me. He donated one of his kidneys to save my life. His kidney had been failing too, but he gave it up for me anyway. Why? I asked him. Because Dimitri asked me to, he said. Because you're still his brother. Even though you don't deserve to be. I got arrested for drug distribution 3 months later. 18 months in prison. My cellmate was Rachel's ex-fiancé. The soldier. He recognized me immediately. We didn't speak for 6 months. Just existed in the same 8x10 cell, sleeping in bunk beds, eating awful food, avoiding eye contact. Then one day he said, I know who you are. I didn't respond. You're the guy who destroyed my life. Still nothing. I haven't forgiven you, he said. But I'm working on it. That's what my therapist says, forgiveness is for me, not you. Why are you talking to me? Because someone showed me grace once. Maybe I can show you some. Maybe. He told me about his recovery. His PTSD therapy. How he'd eventually forgiven Rachel and they'd gotten back together. How they were in couples therapy, probably would be forever, but they'd made it. But I haven't forgiven you yet, he said again. On his release day, he left me a book. The Body Keeps the Score. About trauma. I read it 17 times in prison. I got out. Tried to stay sober. Failed. 3 years after the wedding ghosting, Vanessa messaged me. She'd finished her master's degree in psychology. Was doing better. I told her I was moving back to the US for a coaching job. It was a lie. I was just visiting friends. We spent 2 weeks together. I intentionally got her pregnant. Convinced her to keep the baby. She told her family. Started planning a nursery. Then I flew back to Spain and ghosted her again. She miscarried at 14 weeks. The stress caused a hemorrhage. She almost bled out in the emergency room. Her sister left me a screaming voicemail. She almost died. There was so much blood. Are you happy now? Are you happy? I listened to it 3 times. Felt nothing. Took more heroin. For years later, I saw on social media that Vanessa was getting married. To a therapist she'd met in grad school. Stable guy. Good man. I crashed her wedding. Showed up an hour before the ceremony. Told her I'd changed. Prison had changed me. God had changed me. We were meant to be together. She was in her bridal suite. White dress hanging behind her. Makeup half done. An hour away from marrying someone else. I found God again, I told her. Really found him this time. We're supposed to be together. This wedding is a mistake. She was crying. I'm getting married in an hour. My family, his family, everyone's downstairs. Do you love him the way you loved me? I don't know anymore. We had sex in that bridal suite. Her wedding dress on the floor. The sound of wedding music drifting up from downstairs. After, while she was in the shower, I left a note on the pillow. Proverbs 26 verse 11. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Enjoy explaining this to your groom. I overdosed that night. Intentionally this time. Wanted to die. Victor found me. Again. Called 911. Again. In the hospital, a psychiatrist finally ran a full evaluation. Diagnosed me with autism spectrum disorder, PTSD, severe depression, intrusive thoughts disorder. Your autism made you see patterns others miss, she explained. The calendar wasn't just evidence, it was a pattern your brain couldn't unsee. Combined with religious trauma and substance abuse, you created a systematic revenge algorithm. I destroyed people. Yes. And yourself. That's what happens when neurodivergence meets untreated trauma. I started crying for the first time in 8 years. That was 4 years ago. I've been sober since. In therapy. On medication for depression. Trying to rebuild. I got a job coaching girls' youth basketball. Felt like redemption. These young girls trusted me. I could teach them the game I loved. Be a positive influence. Then one day I recognized one of the parents at pickup. Rachel's ex-fiancé. The soldier. His daughter was on my team. He confronted me calmly at the next practice. Told the league director who I was and what I'd done. The league called an emergency meeting. I had to stand in front of all the parents and explain my past. Every detail. The calendar. The targets. The wedding. The pregnancy. The bridal suite. Some mothers cried. Some fathers looked like they wanted to kill me. The soldier's daughter asked, "Did you hurt my mommy?" I said, "Yes. And I'm sorry." They fired me. I understood. Now I work as a janitor at the same university where it all happened. And I see Vanessa regularly. She's a professor in the psychology department. Researches trauma and recovery. She took her pain and made something meaningful. I took mine and weaponized it. We pass each other in hallways. Both nod. Neither speaks. Sometimes I pause outside her classroom and listen to her lecture. Trauma responses can create new trauma, she tells her students. The abused sometimes become abusers. Breaking that cycle requires acknowledgement, accountability, and years of work. She's talking about both of us. One day we both reached for the elevator button at the same time. Our hands almost touched. We both pulled back. Rode in silence. She got off at her floor. I kept going down to the basement. That's where I belong. Here's the final twist. The woman I'm married to? Dr. Sarah Chen. Vanessa's former therapist. The one who suggested that period tracking calendar 9 years ago. We met in a trauma support group 4 years ago. She'd been carrying guilt about enabling Vanessa's destructive patterns by not addressing the affairs when she saw them logged. She'd spent her career trying to fix that mistake with other patients. 2 broken people who'd helped break others. We fell in love in recovery. The irony isn't lost on either of us. Sarah sees Vanessa at psychology conferences. They're civil. Professional. Vanessa knows we're married. It's the most fucked up triangle that's not a triangle. Just consequences. My brother Dimitri reached out last year. Mom has cancer. She wanted us together. We meet for coffee once a month now. It's awkward. He's in therapy too. Has forgiven himself for sleeping with Vanessa. Working on forgiving me. I forgive you, he said last month. But we're not brothers like we were. We're brothers learning to be brothers again. That's fair. I told Sarah this whole story again today. She makes me do it every few months. It keeps you honest, she says. Each time I tell it, I hear new horrors I'd minimized before. Jenna dropped out of school. Works retail now. Her son is 13. Rachel married the soldier eventually. They're in therapy forever, but they made it. Christina is out and thriving. Married to a woman. Doesn't speak to her family. I'm glad she found happiness. I'm sorry I used her to get there. Aisha is in trauma therapy. Trust issues that may never heal. Maya is back in India. Got her nursing degree. Doing okay. Sophia recovered from her eating disorder. Became a dietitian helping others. Dimitri is a therapist now. Specializes in family trauma. The irony. Vanessa never remarried. Dedicated her life to helping abuse survivors. And me? I mop floors. Make amends. Stay sober. Love a woman who helped create my destruction. People ask if I regret it. Of course I regret it. But regret doesn't undo it. Apologies don't heal it. Sobriety doesn't erase it. I was wronged. And I became the worst wrong. She cheated. I destroyed. We're not equal. What I did was worse. I have to live with that every single day. I still count things. Can't help it. My autistic brain still sees patterns. Now I try to see patterns of grace. Of recovery. Of small amends. Days sober, 1,461. People I destroyed, 8, if you count Dimitri and myself. People I've apologized to, 3. The others won't talk to me. I understand. Years until I might forgive myself, unknown. Possibly never. The boy who counted is still here. But now he counts the cost. If you made it this far, I need you to do something. Like if you think accountability matters more than revenge. Subscribe if you want more real stories about the cost of anger. Comment, have you ever wanted revenge so badly you destroy yourself to get it? Revenge doesn't heal you. It just gives you something to do while you avoid healing. Learn from my mistakes. Get therapy. Get diagnosed. Get sober. Get help. Don't become the monster.